Do you suffer from constipation more than you did, say, 5 or 10 years ago? Well, as you get older, your body does slow down, and constipation can become a problem. Here's where Seratan can help you. Seratan's the laxative made to help a slowed-down system. That's because Seratan's natural ingredients add the necessary moisture and bulk your system needs as you get older. So try Seratan. You'll find that constipation does not have to be part of growing older.
That's right. You don't have to have a problem when you try Seratan. I know you'll find Seratan's a wonderful help. Well, kids, here he is.
Did we start right in with the presents? Benjamin Griffin. Benjamin. Merry Christmas, son. Bobby Snell. Merry Christmas. Oh, go, son. Oh, let's get a couple of them here. David, Mac, there you are, honey. Merry Christmas. Lisa Frederick. There you go, Kimberly. Edward. Oh, there you go. Oh, Christian Zimmer. Heidi Holt. There you go. Nice piano playing. Whoa. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Friends, our time is up. Once again, it's been our great pleasure to share this glorious holiday with all you good people. Please join us next week for a Happy New Year's party. And now, on behalf of all of our musical family, I wish you all the joys and blessings of the holiday season. Peace on earth, goodwill to men, and a very Merry Christmas to you all.
Shows different ways ladies can style their hair on New Center 8. Join Dave, Mike, and Jan Monday at noon on TV8.
It's Christmas Eve around the world, but in 2 area sites, the search is on for murderers. At Hopkins Airport, last-minute holiday travelers try to make it through the Christmas crush for holiday dinner. Our Bill McKay is standing by live with a CityCam report.
And we're going to share with you some good and safe ideas for this holiday season. Fred has highlights on the playoffs, and Mike says there may be, just maybe, a white Christmas. Stay with us.
News Center 8 is next with those stories and a report from Gary Stromberg on Santa's sleigh ride without snow. Season's greetings from TV8. WJW TV8, Cleveland.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Finnerty. Here's what's happening at News Center 8, and once again, it's a story that proves that death takes no holiday. It happened outside the Randall Park Mall, not far from where last-minute shoppers were rushing to make purchases. Cleanup workers found the body of a man lying face down in the snow. Police say the man, 23-year-old Larry Cook of Glendale Avenue in Cleveland, had been shot once in the head. Last seen Wednesday night, it's not yet known what happened to Cook or just how he got here. No weapon was found, and so far, no suspects have been picked up. A massive search has been launched in Ravenna to find out who killed 30-year-old Linda Guthier and her 6-year-old daughter, Tanya. Their bodies were found in a snowbank when firemen responded to a burning car call north of that city. The victims had been shot and stabbed. The car was that of the dead woman. There's another search underway in Los Angeles tonight, this in connection with, again, another homicide, and Kathy has that. Kathy?
Yes, the hunt for the Hillside Strangler has been stepped up. The bodies of 2 young women were found in Southern California early today, and though both were brutally strangled, only one death is believed to be the work of the strangler who has killed 11 women in the last 2 months. The first body was found near the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. The other victims were found in the Wilshire district of Los Angeles. Here in Cleveland, fire investigators have not yet pinpointed the cause of a fire overnight at the Progressive Corporation on Hamilton Road. But last night, firemen had their hands full just dealing with that spectacular blaze. The firefighters were on the scene for more than 5 hours, battling the triple alarm inferno. It's believed the fire started in the rear of the building. Firemen fought to keep the fire from spreading to adjacent buildings, and fortunately, not one of the company's 60 employees was hurt. Today, the extensiveness of the fire was obvious. Much of the huge machinery housed here was heavily damaged or destroyed. Damage has been estimated at $200,000.
On a brighter note, with Christmas just hours away, you couldn't have asked for a better last shopping day before. There was no snow or sleet to trudge through, and so if you were out, you probably had lots of company. Both Higbee's and the May Company report sales up 8 to 10% ahead of last year. Hallie's was jammed too, and what's nicer, everyone we ran into today seemed to be picking up just one last item instead of having to rush about, jamming it all in the last day. A very important day for the little ones, too. One last visit with Santa before he makes his overnight journey around the world.
Well, Jim, Santa has miles to go before he sleeps tonight. And if that goes for you in your travels this holiday, stay with us. We'll tell you what it will be like on land and in the air.
Beautiful apartment. Beautiful cold, like the red nose. That's no way to treat a sore nose. Posh puffs. Stunning. And puffs feel softer, less irritating. Tissues are tissues. Close your eyes. Hands out. Oh, come on. Rub each one on your nose. This one's softer. Puffs. Soft and beautiful.
Puffs, the softest way to treat a sore nose. Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers come in 3 sizes. Wendy's single, 1/4 pound. Wendy's double, 1/2 pound. And Wendy's triple, 3/4 pound. When the meat's real juicy, the more you add, the better it tastes.
The song goes, there's no place like home for the holiday, but you may not agree with that if you're the one rushing to make it home by Christmas through crowds, airports, or by bus. News Center 8's Bill McKay is out at Hopkins Airport right now with a live report on just what this Christmas Eve crush is all about. Bill, what's it like out there?
Jim, there's another song that goes, I'll be home for Christmas. And as far as the people here at Hopkins are concerned, if you want to be home for Christmas, you're going to be home for Christmas, especially if you're flying out of here. Things are just going fine, aren't they, Tom?
Things are just absolutely super. The weather is excellent. Everything is on time and normal.
What about if somebody wanted to fly out of here tomorrow? How does it look for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, the loads are not real heavy. There's still plenty of seats available.
Okay. How about the crowd for a Christmas Eve?
It's been very heavy. Normally, the Sunday after Thanksgiving is our big day, but yesterday we equaled that number, about 8,800 passengers. And the return peak will actually be probably the 2nd and 3rd of January. It may even surpass yesterday.
You know, Tom, a couple of minutes ago, I talked to some of the passengers earlier, and one One was going to the far north, and a couple of very beautiful ladies were going to the deep south. Let's listen to that now. It doesn't look like we're going to get it. Okay, Tom, I want to thank you very much, and we'll get the interviews later. And Merry Christmas to you and all your family and employees out here. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I'm Bill McKay. We are live with the CityCam here at Hopkins Airport. Now back to the studio.
Well, with the Christmas holiday weekend only hours old, Ohio's highway death toll already stands at 4. Thousands have taken to the road. Of course, we all want to be with our relatives for Christmas. But News Center 8's Susan Howard warns that the Smokies are cracking down on careless drivers.
Because they know that many people will be on the roads this weekend, Ohio State Patrolmen will be out in full force, watching for two types of lawbreakers, those who speed and those who are drunk.
That in order to keep people alive, we have to enforce the traffic laws, and if this means if a person violates, we cite him to traffic court. It's the only way we have, and we can prove it in Ohio. Strict traffic enforcement means less traffic accidents and less deaths.
And would you say your enforcement is stricter on a holiday like this?
Yes, probably so.
More cars than usual will be patrolling the interstates, trying to keep the number of accidents and deaths to a minimum. And as a grim reminder of what can happen if you break traffic laws, the State Patrol will broadcast the Christmas holiday death toll every hour over the CB Channel 19. Susan Howard, News Center 8.
For all of us who drive, especially in those long homeward-bound trips over the holidays, we've seldom stopped to think about gasoline usage since the lifting of the Arab oil embargo 4 years ago. But are we using any less gasoline, and are we really energy conscious as we'd like to think? Well, a prominent researcher says that for the first time since that embargo, gasoline consumption is leveling off. But is it a conscious decision or just a fluke? To answer that, we sent Ed Bates to find out.
We're probably driving quite a bit less. We have family in the western side of Ohio and in Detroit, and we lived in Pennsylvania for years. We used to go back and forth quite regularly, but it seems that it's getting less and less.
I carpool to work, and we live by a big city, and we try to get people to go in with us when we go into town or get to ride in with them a lot.
I travel quite a bit, but I bought a smaller car, more economy car.
So you're beating the gasoline habit that way.
Right.
Some service station people that Ed talked with also noted a leveling off. They joined the research folks in saying if the trend continues, we may start seeing a decline by 1980.
The decline in farm prices has caused major demonstrations across the country. Today in Plains, Georgia, striking farmers demanded that they meet with President Carter, and they got their wish. Officials for the striking farmers told the president they want better prices for their goods. Carter said he sympathized with them, but their demands could jeopardize American agricultural exports.
Wasn't Lois right? She had me in stitches.
Hey, Sue, look at this.
What?
Look what's happening here. See the shine coming through?
Of course, you're using my lemon fresh joy.
It's like it's shining itself.
Thank you.
That's why Hal and Lois were oohing and eyeing over your table.
Oh, it did look pretty, didn't it?
Pretty isn't the word. Everything sparkled.
Okay. The thanks belongs to Joy, huh?
And you, too.
Oh.
See for yourself how Lemon Fresh Joy cleans down to the shine. What a nice reflection on you.
Hi, Peter Marshall here for the one and only Carpet Barn and Tile House with savings to 50% on quality carpet by Philadelphia. Price includes carpet, pad, and installation. Carpet Barn.
You believe that you're Santa Claus?
Of course. I intend to prove that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus.
He's crazy, too.
Miracle on 34th Street, the original 1947 classic with Maureen O'Hara, Edmund Gwen, and Natalie Wood. Join us Christmas Day. It's a present to you and your family from TV8. Miracle on 34th Street tomorrow afternoon at 1 here on TV8.
If you bought wooden alphabet blocks like I did for that special youngster this Christmas, you should check them. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has ordered the recall of more than 8,000 sets of the blocks. High levels of lead in the paint used on them make them unsafe. Now, the alphabet blocks recalled are packaged in a plastic bag. Now, take note, they are labeled the ABC Educational Blocks, made in Taiwan for Skyline International of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If you have a set, return it to the store where purchased for full refund.
There's one other point we want to bring out about safety on this eve before Christmas. It's a warning that not only toys need to be watched to make sure this doesn't turn into a season of sadness. Norma Davidoff has that story.
During the Christmas season, there are many threats to small children that we don't think of because we're too busy having a good time. If alcohol is out in the open in glasses left over from a party or in an unlocked liquor cabinet, children may mimic their parents and take a drink, and that can be fatal.
Alcohol is really quite a poisonous substance. The difference between a dose that would make a child unconscious and the dose that would kill him is not very great at all.
Christmas decorations can be dangerous, too. Mistletoe and yew berries are poisonous. It's best to keep them out of reach, because it doesn't take much to harm a small child.
This is the recommended first aid treatment for poisoning. It's Ipecac syrup, and it will make the child throw up and get rid of the poison. You can buy it in any drugstore without a prescription, and Dr. Garrettson recommends it for every family with a child 1 to 5.
And there can be hazards under the tree, too. Beware of aftershave lotions, colognes, and other gifts with an alcohol content. Taking these few but obvious precautions will make for a happier Christmas. This is Norma Davidoff reporting.
Well, the Oakland Raiders got their Christmas present early this year.
They did. In fact, Santa Claus played the role today. Number 87 for the silver and black. No question about it. He's about as big as Santa Claus. And
jolly tonight.
Oh, was he ever. We'll tell you why in a moment.
Sweetie pie. Your shirt smells nice.
Nice.
April fresh. Laura? Laura, I can tell. You're using Downy.
Of course I use Downy, Mom. That's what you always used.
I know, but...
And I always liked the way my clothes smelled.
You never told me.
Well, that's why I use Downy. I feel how soft it gets things. You know I love that.
Downy fabric softener spreads all through the rinse to rinse in softness and freshness, while it helps rinse out annoying static cling.
See? Doesn't cling. And all my clothes smell April fresh. The way things smelled at home.
Laura, you never told me you noticed.
Oh, Mom. Kids never tell you anything. Till they have kids of their own.
The April fresh smell of Downy, a noticeable improvement.
You know, you expect a great game when a pair of top-flight football teams collide. A great game may be understating Baltimore and Oakland's AFC playoff thriller, as the Raiders finally won it 53 seconds into the second sudden death overtime, 37-31. Highlights? Well, we may be able to spend the next 5 minutes showing big plays. This 30-yard run by Clarence Davis late in the first quarter put the defending Super Bowl champs on top first. Now, he does it despite the yanking of the face mask. The score, though, remained that way until Ken Stabler made a very costly mistake. Now watch Bruce Laird step in front of this pass toward the sideline. He promptly picks it off and runs 61 yards untouched to pay dirt, and the Colts had tied the game at 7. Before the half ended, Tony Linhart booted a field goal to make it 10-7 at intermission. Early in the third quarter, Stabler spots Big Dave Casper, or Santa Claus, if you will, over the middle for this 8-yarder. It put the Raiders back in front 14-10. Now watch what happens on the ensuing kickoff. Marshall Johnson uses the wedge to get to the outside, and it's off to the races, 87 yards, and suddenly the Colts had regained the lead by 3. But Oakland came right back. Stabler for the second time to Casper for 10 yards, and it was 21-17. Ron Lee, though, returned the favor for the Colts from the 1-yard line after Oakland had thwarted 3 previous cracks. But for the 6th time, the lead changed hands. Pete Banaszak hammers it in from the 1. It was a 28-24 contest. Later in the final period, Lee again from the 7, and the Colts found themselves up 31-28. Earlman kicked a field goal to send it into sudden death, and following 15 scoreless minutes, Sabler found Mr. Glue-Fingers Casper again, and the Raiders had ended the 3rd longest game in pro football history, 37-31. On the other side, Denver and Pittsburgh are deadlocked in that other AFC clash, 14-all. They're now in the 3rd quarter. The Bronco defense has set up both their TDs on runs by Steve Lytle and Otis Armstrong. Terry Bradshaw and Franco Harris have scored on 1-yard runs for the Steelers. On Monday, the NFC will take its turn. In Dallas, the Cowboys are a 10-point favorite to hold off the Chicago Bears. And in Los Angeles, the Rams are a dominant pick as well to eliminate the Minnesota Vikings. Bud Grant's teams have beaten the Rams 3 times in playoff competition, so you might wonder if L.A. is talking about revenge.
Jim, I don't think so. I don't think there's any revenge factor. We do want to beat Minnesota, but we want to beat no matter whom we were playing now. And we're not. Last year's game's not going to come into our minds when we're playing this week and in our preparation. So people have asked me that. I really don't think revenge is going to be a factor.
The last time you played them, which was on a Monday night, you really creamed them 35-3. You don't look for a game like that this time, do you?
I would be surprised, to tell you the truth. We want to score a whole lot of points and obviously shut them down, but we got a few early breaks which kind of helped us there, and things just kind of snowballed after that. I don't anticipate us having as easy a time as we did the first time.
And if you complained in the past about the Browns not lifting the local TV blackout, listen to this. 7,000 tickets remain for Monday's game in L.A., but the Rams will not lift the local embargo even though it is a playoff game. Tomorrow, Penn State is a 9-point pick to nail down Arizona State in the Fiesta Bowl. You'll be able to see it right here on TV8 beginning at 3 o'clock. Lou Holtz has earned plenty of respect this week by suspending 3 of his star University of Arkansas football players for the upcoming Orange Bowl. Today, he received some recognition for what he's done all year as he was named the College Football Coach of the Year by the Walter Camp Football Foundation. Holtz, of course, has guided his Razorbacks to a 10-1 record. The Barons lost yet another squeaker last night in New York, a 5-4 deficit to the Rangers. Dennis Marouk, Chris Maneri, Bob Murdoch, and Ken Cusick tallied for the locals, who will now be off until Tuesday when they'll tangle with the Canadians in Montreal. Last night's goal by Maneri was the rookie's 12th of the season and 5th in the last 5 games. Chris may have been able to take some teams by surprise before, but he knows it will become more difficult now.
Well, I'm sure it will, but I'm sure it's the same for everybody else in the league. As the season goes on, the teams tighten up a lot more, so I've expected it to be a lot tougher as it goes along, so I'm kind of gearing myself for that.
What kind of hockey player do you describe yourself as?
I have to be a hard-working type guy because I just don't have the talent of a Marouk or something like that, so I'd like to think that I'm a good two-way player and that I work hard at the game. I can't go down and out-finesse anybody, and a lot of my goals are rebounds and things like that, so I have to work a little harder at the other aspects of the game.
Finally, the Cavaliers, tied for first place in the NBA's Central Division with Washington, will spend part of their Christmas Day at the Coliseum tomorrow. The Buffalo Braves, of course, will also be there. The game will be nationally telecast, except here in the Cleveland-Akron area, but we will have highlights for you tomorrow at 6 o'clock, and for you, too. Don't want to leave you out.
Well, it's nice to know that somebody besides us is working on Christmas Day as well. Thanks, Fred. There's an old fable which says that animals can talk on Christmas Eve. I remember waiting for my dog Waldo to utter a few words, but I'm sorry to report he never did. Maybe he just had nothing to say. But another concern about animals took News Center 8's Ann Mulligan to the Cleveland Zoo last week, and perhaps it's fitting that she found some sort of animal Christmas getting an early start.
You know, Cleveland winters are really awful, and I'm an animal lover, so I got to wondering, how do they take care of the animals at the zoo? Well, these guys have it easy because they're used to it. But what about the rest of them?
Now, a lot of the animals are used to hot and sultry weather, so you can imagine what they think of Cleveland temperatures. And they have such little hair on their bodies that there's no way they can keep warm outside, so a lot of them are in all winter and beefed up with extra food. Some of them even need more attention, like the elephant, who needs a regular grease job on his skin to keep it from drying out. I thought they must get pretty bored being inside, but some of the zookeepers do extra fussing and teach the animals tricks. And of course, they get a lot of extra tidbits that make it all worthwhile. So as the saying goes, this weather's not fit for man or beast. And it seems that unless you weigh about 800 pounds and have shaggy white hair all over your body, Cleveland's winter is almost unbearable. This is Ann Mulligan for News Center 8.
Hey, Mike, I'm sure the little ones out there want to know whether or not there'll be some snow tonight because Santa can't arrive on his sleigh without snow.
I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm going to tell you. As a matter of fact, we may have some good news for all you good little boys and girls out there, and all you older folks, too, if you like a white Christmas. Looks like we may be getting some. We'll tell you that whole thing when we come back.
Frosty the snowman was a jolly, happy soul, with a corn-cob pipe and a button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. Frosty the snowman knew the sun was hot that day, so he said, let's run and we'll have some fun. That was where I melted away. Down to the village with a broomstick in his hand, running here and there all around the square, saying, catch me if you can. He led them down the streets of town right to the traffic cop, and he only paused a moment when he heard him holler, stop. Frosty the snowman had to hurry on his way, but he waved goodbye saying, don't you cry, I'll be back again someday.
Well, I'll tell you, if you had to do some last-minute Christmas shopping today, you had a great day for it. It was nice and warm, got up to 49 degrees, and very little moisture. As a matter of fact, none. Yet, we're going to get some, though. Let's look at current conditions now. At Hopkins, 47 degrees. Relative humidity is 89%. 80%. Okay, the barometer falling, now 29.61 inches. And the winds from the south at 16 miles per hour, gusting to 24, and, as noted, no precipitation so far today. Let's take a look now at color radar. It is on the 50-mile range, and it looks like we have something to look at. A lot of echoes bouncing off. Down south around the Akron-Canton area and to the east of Mansfield, a whole lot of echoes bouncing back, a lot of moisture in the air. Also out on the lake off Lorraine and off Sandusky. These are rain showers that are coming our way. These will change to snow flurries later tonight. So we're going to have a white Christmas by tomorrow morning if everything works out right. We had a high today of 49 degrees after a morning low of 28. A year ago, a lot colder at 27 and 2 above. Lake temperature remains 34 degrees. Within the last hour, we have rain shower activity at Cincinnati, at Dayton, at Columbus, Zanesville, and down at Huntington and on into West Virginia. And as we saw on the radar, it is moving our way. Down around the Akron-Canton area, there's also some on the lake off Cleveland. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:52. The sun will set tomorrow evening at 3 minutes past the hour of 5. Let's take a look now at the satellite picture. And this was taken at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and it shows a great deal of cloudiness over Ohio. Actually, the only area of sunshine is right up in the Dakotas, and that part is probably socked over with clouds now as a front has moved through that area, and it has brought some snow to the Dakotas and the Minnesota and Wisconsin area. We have a low pressure cell that is anchored on this line. Actually, it's a warm front at this point from here in Iowa all the way over to western New York. And this is the line that is going to be moving through Ohio during the night, and the snow is behind it. So we'll be getting snow or snow flurry activity later tonight, probably by the time all you kids go to bed. Warm day down south of that front, though. We can take a picture of a young man in Boston who's just dying to use his hockey stick by the pond on Boston Common, but it seems temperatures there in the 50s today have precluded his playing any hockey at all. Let's go to the forecast now. We can look for winds tonight from the south at 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting up higher than that out on the lake. For any of you boating fans, gale warnings are posted. For tonight then, showers early this evening, turning to snow or snow flurries later tonight. 1 inch or less accumulation. The overnight low around 24 degrees. For tomorrow, windy, a chance of snow flurries, and a high of about 33 degrees. Looking ahead to Monday, snow flurries are possible. It's going to be a lot colder with a high of 21. Tuesday, fair and cold. Again, a high in the lower 20s. A chance of snow or snow flurries on both Wednesday and Thursday with a high in the low to mid-20s. And that is the weather picture, Jim.
Boating fans on the lake tonight?
Ho, ho, ho.
For folks out there boating on the... I don't think there's anybody out there, Mike. Of course, I could be mistaken. Thanks. This being December 24th, our TV8 editorial tonight has some special thoughts in keeping with the season. Here with that is News and Public Affairs Director Virgil Dominic.
It's Christmas Eve. It won't be long now, and all those presents piled under the tree will be opened to reveal their wonderful contents. And a Cleveland mother has sent a poem to remind me that it's not the quantity of gifts we receive, it's the intent of the giver that really makes the gift worthwhile. This is the story of a mother who got something from her 8-year-old boy. "I made it specially for you," he said, and handed me the dubious dab of color he had made for me to see. A horse, a cat, a fish, a shoe? But who quibbles with such art? No matter what it was, I knew it came straight from his heart. I told him it was beautiful, and I loved his big surprise. And $1 million couldn't buy that pleased look in his eyes. Especially for you. 3 words such potent magic hold. They turn the smallest gift on earth to one of purest gold. All of us here at TV8 hope that all of your presents are given and received with such a love. Merry Christmas.
Beautiful apartment. Beautiful cold, like the red nose. That's no way to treat a sore nose. Posh puffs. Stunning. And puffs feel softer, less irritating. Tissues are tissues. Close your eyes. Hands out. Oh, come on. Rub each one on your nose. This one's softer. Puffs. Soft and beautiful.
Puffs, the softest way to treat a sore nose.
Mrs. Heinzelman has been buying the same brand of peanut butter for 10 years. She thinks it's best, but with the labels of the 3 leading brands hidden, can she pick it out?
Which one do you prefer?
So you buy Jif?
Oh.
Do you buy Jif?
No.
Why did you pick Jif?
Because it tastes the best. It really did. It tastes like fresh peanuts.
I'll give you a free jar. You can have your regular brand or you can have Jif.
I think I'll take Jif.
You got it.
Okay.
More and more choosy mothers choose Jif.
When you put your youngsters to bed early tonight, it's going to be awfully hard for them to sleep as they listen out for Santa Claus. News Center 8 reporter Gary Stromberg talked to some children today, and you'd be surprised they don't really know much about the way Santa operates.
Everybody knows that Santa Claus will be visiting thousands and thousands of homes tonight. But we wondered how Santa knows which houses to go to. So we asked some young experts here at Severance Center. Is Santa Claus coming to your house tonight?
Yeah.
How does he know how to find you?
If I tell him my phone number and my address.
He has your phone number and address? How'd he get it?
If I call him and tell him.
You called him and told him, huh?
Yeah.
How does he know how to find your house?
He'll look around on his sleigh when he can see all the houses from the sleigh.
How will he know how to find you?
I'll be asleep. He'll go in my bedroom.
And what'll he do then?
I don't know. I won't be watching.
Is Santa Claus coming to your house tonight?
No.
Why not?
I celebrate Hanukkah.
How will he know how to find your house?
He looks at other houses.
Is Santa Claus coming to your house tonight?
Yes.
How will he know how to find your house?
I guess he has a map.
How's he going to know how to find your house?
He may look through his magical ball.
His magical ball?
Mm-hmm.
And that tells where you live?
Right.
So a lot of Cleveland kids aren't really sure how Santa Claus actually finds them, but they're pretty confident that he will find them tonight. Gary Stromberg, News Center 8.
I like the phone number and address myself. Tonight, all our young viewers, of course, will be nestled all snug in their beds while visions of sugar plums dance in their heads. Something along that line on Public Square, which follows next here on TV8. Dreams and what they mean. Stay tuned for that. And join us for a very special show tonight at 11 when we'll not only update the news, we'll report on a very special Christmas shopping list for Cleveland Mayor Dennis Kucinich. See you at 11. Have a nice evening.
Good evening.
Texas, the Cleveland Cavaliers take on the Houston Rockets Thursday night at 9 here on TV8. Cleveland versus Houston, Thursday night at 9 on TV8. When you need information on health and social services, Community Information Services can be your detective. Call them anytime, 696-4262. WJW TV8, Cleveland.
From TV8 in Cleveland, this is Public Square with Mike Keene. Joining Mike tonight with our studio audience are Dr. Richard Corriere and Dr. Joseph Hart.
Hello, everybody. You know, people spend a lot of their lives dreaming. I think the doctor said 5 years on an average. It's a world of the unconscious where we seemingly have no control. Dreams can offer relief from the unhappiness of the waking world and escape from the everyday problems. Sometimes dreams bring us the sheer terror of nightmares, but enjoyable or frightening, for most of us, the world of dreams is a world cloaked in mystery. Yet that mystery does not exist, not for tonight's guests. Richard Corriere and Joseph Hart are doctors of psychology. They claim to have bridged the gap between dreams and reality. Doctors Corriere and Hart believe that dreams can be a simple picture of emotion, pictures that can work to defeat the problems of daily life. They have put their theory into practice at a dream therapy clinic in Southern California. Their methods are described in a book that they have written, The Dream Makers. It's subtitled, Discovering Your Breakthrough Dreams. This they call a revolutionary method to make your dreams and feelings work for you. And with that, I'll start the questions, and then we'll turn the program over to the studio audience. I think the first thing I'd like to know about is, what the heck is a breakthrough dream?
In order to understand a breakthrough dream, you have to understand a normal dream.
Okay.
So most people in the country have dreams in which they're the victim. They're passive. There's lots of anxiety and apprehension. And it's symbolic, so when they wake up from it, they go, oh, what happened? I just don't understand what happened. And a breakthrough dream changes all of that, because in it, you're the star. You're very expressive. You say what's on your mind. You say what you feel. You're physically active. You move around in the dream. You can punch bad guys, kiss the people that you like. And there's little or no symbolism in it. You wake up understanding what it means and how it relates to your waking personality and to your life.
Why do people so often have dreams, Dr. Hart, where they seem helpless, or they can't move, or they're in a position, as you said, that somebody's beating them or misusing them, and they can't fight back?
Well, there are two reasons. One reason is physiological. When you dream, you actually are paralyzed from the neck down, which is a good thing, because if that weren't true, every time you dreamt something that was very active, you'd act it out. So if you dreamt that you were running for a bus, you'd run right through your bedroom wall.
But don't some people turn around in their sleep or twist when they're
Well,
dreaming?
you're paralyzed to a degree. You can only make gross movements. You can move your head all right, but you can only sort of flop around with your body. You can't make coordinated movements.
Is that like sometimes you dream a bad dream, you want to wake up and you can't wake up, you can
That's
just
right.
barely move a little
That's
bit?
right. So you have a sense of that sometimes in your dreams. But the more typical reason is that people tend to not express their feelings during the day. And then they carry that tendency over into the night. Now, dreams are really pictures of feelings. So if you hold back your feelings, then you have that impression coming through to you that you're paralyzed. You're paralyzing your feelings. That's what usually happens.
How does your theory, even if it's, let's say it's a workable practice, how does it help people in life, in day-to-day life?
Well, what we can show people through their dreams is the dynamics of their personality, their waking personality. And we think that people are smart enough, as soon as they see the dynamics of how their personality is working for them and how it's working against them, they'll begin to change it. Because most people that I meet definitely want to change. They want a better life. They're They're not satisfied with being just married. They want a good relationship, or they're not satisfied with just having a job. They want a satisfaction from that job. And that's what we're trying to help people with, to use the skills that they have to improve their own life.
What about all the dream symbolism of Sigmund Freud? You know, I used to hear about things, if you dreamt that you jumped into a pool of water with somebody, that meant that you wanted to make love to them, or that you were making love to them. How does that jive with what you espouse?
We've really shifted away from the interpretation of symbolism, because even if you can sometimes guess accurately, or if you can get help from an analyst to help you guess accurately, that doesn't really change your dreams. You keep having symbolic dreams. And we focus instead on teaching people to notice how they are in their dreams, how they function in their dreams. And once they notice how they function in their dreams, then they can begin to do something about the relationship between their dream functioning and their waking functioning.
The majority of people that come to you, to your clinic, are they people that are severely disturbed? Are they people that are mildly disturbed? Are they people that are just interested in learning about their dreams?
We actually bridge that entire spectrum, but most of the people are just like you and I. They're just everyday people who want something more in their lives. And that's what we're trying to give people. We think that preventative psychology is much more important than trying to help someone with a severe emotional problem, though we've done that many, many times, because you can get to more people when you're into preventative psychology.
Do you have detractors? Do you have psychologists and psychiatrists that believe in Freud, in Freudian theory, and they say, you guys bunko?
Sure. It's a controversial theory. But we are willing to argue with people. We have a lot of research, both physiological research and psychological research, and we have a lot of clinical observations. So we know it's going to take a while to establish this new way of looking at dreams, but we're willing to go through the argumentation stage.
We want the controversy, because if not, then your theory isn't radical enough to really change some things that we think are outdated.
You talk about something in your book, when a person is able to help himself through his dreams or go through the therapy, becomes a dream maker. But you begin with a terrifying experience that a psychologist has, that the dream maker he doesn't control comes to him and puts him through all kinds of awful experiences, and it indicates that there are some painful experiences in this therapy for someone that would undergo this therapy. Is that true?
Yes, and undergoing the therapy and undergoing the practices in the book are two totally different things. The book is very educational, and it's a slowed-down version of the therapy. But if you really want to change, you've got to face some parts of yourself that you may not like, and often that is painful.
I have to do this. My wife, when she found out that we were going to do this program, she said, I have a reoccurring dream. I want you to ask the doctors about this dream. And the dream is simply that she's back in high school, all right? It's graduation. Everybody is graduating. Her turn comes. She comes up, and they say, you can't graduate. You don't have enough credits. And she says, but I do. I have proof. I have the credits. And she argues with them. Then they argue, and the same thing happens. She doesn't graduate. Everybody else graduates.
We'll just take a functional view of that dream, okay? We won't get into what it means or why she had it. Functionally, she's got to understand that arguing for her doesn't get her what she really wants to get, which is and proving that she has the credit to have something more. What we would do when working with this dream is get her to express, that would be one thing, how much that she is worth already without proving or arguing about it, and that's a great difference. And the other thing is we'd get her to admit that she's already graduated from high school and that she keeps going back to old things to argue about, and that doesn't make her feel very good.
I can send her out to California, but I don't have to. You've told me. I can go home and tell her, and she can watch, and everything is going to be solved.
But we want her to experience it. That's what we're really looking for.
What is the rate of, I don't know if you could say cure, I don't know, the percentage of people you feel that you have definitely helped? Is there a rate of some kind?
Well, it differs depending upon whether you're talking about the intensive therapy, which takes a long time.
Well, let's talk about the average patient that comes to you seeking some help through your dream therapy.
We deal with all kinds of problems, and if the person will stay in the therapy program, And that means committing an entire month to doing nothing but the therapy and then continuing in group sessions and individual sessions for about a year, which is a big commitment. If they'll do that, we have been able to successfully cope with every kind of symptom that has been brought to us.
You mentioned to me earlier that impotence, which is got about a 50% cure rate in most areas, was 100% cure rate with your techniques.
That's true, because of the intensity of the therapy that we practice. That's, if we had to practice the way most psychiatrists and psychologists practice, which is to see a person just occasionally in their offices, then of course our rate would drop down also. But we have this incredible commitment in the therapy that we do.
It's about that time to break away, and we'll come back and talk to the audience. We have a very small audience tonight, and for a good reason, because we're going to use them to talk about dream therapy, and it should be interesting, so stay with us.
Season's greetings from TV8.
Now we're going to go down to the audience, and we're going to work with some dreams. And I talked to you earlier before the show. You had a whole host of questions and things to talk about. What are we going to start with?
I'd like to know if you see dreams as predictors of events in your patients.
You have to be very specific. I don't know what you mean as predictor of events. What kind of events?
You mean like foresee into the future?
Yes, foresee into the future, things that then in fact do happen the next day or in the near future.
Well, we don't believe in ESP because we've looked at all the scientific literature and we've even done some research on it, and we've had a very hard time finding any conclusive evidence. But we have a belief about people that they're very intuitive and very smart. And often they know things that they don't allow themselves to know when they're awake. And that it seems like predictive, but it's really just common knowing that comes out in their dreams. So that's our real view of it.
How about the occult in general? Anything that you feel about that? Is it bunk, or do you have an open mind?
Well, I'd like to just keep an open mind about it, because we've tried actually to replicate some of the most interesting experiments unsuccessfully, but every time I see one that looks like it might be promising, we discuss it and see if we could examine it.
So you try things that you read about in medical journals that...
Right.
We think some of the most interesting things about the occult is that if someone enjoys it, they have personal experiences which are satisfying, and it leads them to a more functional and meaningful life for themselves. That's what's important, not what we as professionals say about it.
Are you publishing your findings in other than professional journals where the average person can read them?
Yes. We like to publish both in professional journals and popular journals, and we like to write both popular books and technical books. So we've published in journals like the Journal of Experimental Physiology, which is the kind of journal where everything has mathematics on every other page, and it's very hard to read. And then we also have published in, everyday newspapers.
I'd like to do what we talked about earlier, and that's do a little bit with dream therapy techniques.
Great. Good.
So if I can have a volunteer to talk about dreams, all right, we'll talk about dreams, okay. Let's see what we can do.
Shall I give you a dream that I had?
Yes.
In my dream, I received some flowers. They were white, and I sensed that they were forget-me-nots, but I have since learned that forget-me-nots are blue, but in my dream I felt that they were forget-me-nots. With the flowers, a card came, and the card was the florist's card, but a message was on it, and the person who had sent them to me told me about a marriage in the family, and also mentioned that he had taken 4 important trips, and he signed his name and his address in full.
It's a very complicated dream. Is it a recurring dream?
No, it happened one time.
Okay, what's your name?
Marianne.
Okay, is that a shamrock there, a golden shamrock?
Oh, I really don't know. It could be.
Okay, did you like the feeling in the dream?
My feeling in the dream was that maybe it meant that I was going to be receiving flowers, and I felt anticipated about it, and I felt good.
Hold it. Did you like the feeling, just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Were you expressive in the dream?
Well, I think I was, I would say I was passive. I had just received the flowers, and...
Okay, just, in our therapy, we're very into yes and no answers.
Oh.
Were you expressive?
No.
Okay. So that's where we'd start then. We'd say, let's just start expressing some of the things that you'd like to express in that dream. So what's one thing you'd like to express?
That I received flowers.
Okay, how did that make you feel?
Very good.
And that's what we'd want you to start with. I feel very good getting those flowers. Why don't you just do that and say that?
I feel very good getting those flowers.
Yeah, just do it. Just say that again.
I feel very good receiving those flowers.
And how does that make you feel, just that tiny little bit?
Well, elated.
Yeah, that's the tiniest beginning of the work that we would do with Dream. We would get you to express all kinds of feelings about getting those flowers and what it felt like for you. And before you know it, there's a very positive, strong feeling in that dream that you're not allowing yourself to have in your waking life. And that's what we'd help you learn to do, is how to translate that over into your waking life.
What about the message I received?
We're not too worried about the message because we found that insight and understanding comes after the experience or the feeling. Okay.
I really like that. I mean, that is fascinating. I liked it so much I want to try it again. I want to try and develop some more of those ideas because that really lets us see what the therapy is like. Have we got anybody else that... you kind of raised your hand before, but come on.
Okay, I have dreams. I had a dream that, like I'd go into a store, or I could see what had happened in my dream. Like, I could see into the future or something, but not into the future, like far into the future, just like within a matter of 2 or 3 weeks. I could see what was happening, and before I knew it, you know, I was in that same situation that I was in my dream. Like a matter of going into a store and seeing something and knowing that, you know, oh, I'm supposed to buy that, and it was in my dream, and I end up buying it.
Is this kind of deja vu? Is that what you might call this?
Well,
experiencing something that, or that you think you've experienced before?
No, what we found from our research is that the actual event isn't often true. What's true is it's an emotional deja vu. You have a feeling that's very powerful in your dream, and 2 weeks later you have the same feeling, and then you fill in the details with whatever's going around. Because they've done some very interesting studies where they're trying to make people exactly say what they think they're predicting or is being predicted in their dreams, and they have a very difficult time doing that.
Okay, what about meeting people? Like, I swear that I've either seen or have actually talked to and met people.
It's the same thing. Let me tell you an interesting scientific experiment. They take pictures and they ask people, what's happening in this picture? It's that simple. And there might be 2 men and a woman. And the woman may be robbing these men in the picture. But after a very short time, people will say, they'll ask them back, they'll say, what happened? They'll say, well, there was 2 men robbing a woman. Another person will say, 1 man was robbing a woman and another man was trying to stop him. So what we see, or think we see, is often tainted very heavily with our own feelings, our projections about that. And that's very true about your dreams.
Now, does this recur over and over again throughout your life? You see people in dreams, you meet them, you go through experiences in dreams, you then have those experiences?
I usually dream about meeting somebody, and then in a matter of weeks I see them or I meet them. So it happens, I'd say, like on the average of 2 or 3 times a year.
Dr. Hart, now, would that be considered psychic in any way, do you think?
Well, it's really hard to say, you know. You'd have to keep a little tally. So you'd have to keep track of all those times that you dreamt that you were going to see a person and then did see them, and then all the times that you dreamt you were going to see a person and didn't see them, and then all the times that you dreamt you were going to see a person and you forgot whether you were going to see them or not, or whether you ever did see them. And if you kept that tally, you know, then we'd start to know how accurate your dreams were as predictors.
Do you know what's an interesting phenomenon about ESP and any kind of occult thing, which could be having visions or walking on water? Those are all side phenomena, because all of those experiences are really just trying to teach you something about yourself and give you an experience about yourself, which most people get sidetracked in. They're much more concerned with levitating or doing some magical feat or predicting the future. But most teachings that I've ever studied really end up saying it's you knowing about yourself and how you feel and how you are in the world. That's the most important thing.
Okay, did you ever have a case that, like, a person had a dream and it, like, they woke up the next morning and they remembered it and it, like, changed their whole life, like they knew they had to do something, like, and they thought about it and it, like, changed their whole life and they told you about it?
Yes, we have had cases like that. We've had all kinds of interesting stories from people, and we've interviewed lots of people. One of the most interesting ones that we've heard recently was from Bruce Jenner. He, all the time that he was training for the Olympics, he went through this arduous training, and he kept having the same dream.